Hello and welcome to A-level Sociology. I'm going to tell you what sociology is, I'm going to explain why it's such a great subject to study, and I'll tell you a little bit about the topics. So in the sociology department, most of our students are completely new to the subject. We're one of the biggest A-level departments in the country. We get great results. And we produce all our own resources for our students. So what is sociology? Okay, it's the scientific study of society, which means that we look at big ideas such as social change in society, how change comes about, why it's important, what effect it has. We also look at things that seem to stay the same, like poverty and crime. We look at what's called social institutions, so the role of the family in the institution of marriage or looking after children, education and exam results, or the role of religion in producing a shared moral value, a kind of social glue. In social groups, we look at the effect of class, age, gender and ethnicity on our education, the jobs we get, the housing we live in, and whether or not we're likely to go to prison. And in social research, we focus on how sociologists investigate the world in which we live and what happens with their findings. So really the biggest question sociologists ask is why? And if you're curious about the world, you want answers to the big questions of the day, then sociology is definitely for you. So what kind of questions do sociologists want answers to? Well, have a look at some of the questions here and see what answers you come up with yourselves. These are kinds of questions that we ask in class, that we debate, and that you will be asked to answer in essays. So no doubt about it, sociology will challenge some of your existing ideas, but it will provide you with evidence and arguments to come to conclusions about what's happening in the world. Sociologists do disagree on almost everything, but that makes it a really interesting subject to study. It helps us to understand that there are lots of different ways of looking at the same thing, and consequently sociology is able to move with the times. It's a dynamic and really exciting subject to study. So let's look at some of the key ideas in sociology that makes it such an exciting subject. So sociology starting point really is an idea, a word or a term called socialisation. Now this isn't about going out and partying and being sociable. It's more about how we learn the rules of our society from our birth and throughout our lives. What is it about societies that requires individuals to fit in with their wider communities and groups? And what happens if individuals lack contact and communication and interaction with other humans? In sociology, in the first couple of weeks of the course, we look at some case studies of so-called wild children, feral children, who have been raised by dogs or chickens or wolves, which makes for quite interesting reading. Culture is another important idea in sociology. Sociologists are interested in understanding how we have a shared way of life as human beings, the language that we speak, the food that we eat, how we dress, the music we listen to, the beliefs that we share or perhaps disagree with. In identity, we look at how we are and who we are rather, and how we feel about ourselves. Now, our identities are increasingly complex, but they're also very important to us. And sociologists are interested in how our identities are formed through, for example, the socialisation that we experience and what influences and affects our identities, our friendships, for example. Stratification relates to how societies are organised in a hierarchical way, with some people at the top and some people at the bottom. Why do societies do this? Who does it benefit? Similarly, differentiation refers to social groups. Social groups in society tend to be separated or organised in terms of their social class, age, gender and ethnicity. And that has an impact on the opportunities available to us in our lives. In the first couple of weeks of the course, we'll be looking at how we define and what we mean by these really important terms of social differentiation. And finally, but certainly not least, power. This has been a big issue across the globe in recent weeks. Power essentially relates to or concerns the ability to direct, control or influence the behaviour of others. And we've seen this very starkly in the tragic death of George Floyd in America recently. So sociologists want to understand who has power in society and why, and what the impact of power and powerlessness might have on people's behaviour. So why is sociology such a great subject to study? Apart from the fact that it's very interesting, it's also really useful. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. It helps you put the pieces together and make sense of yourself, others, your local community, your society and the wider world. So evidence produced by sociologists can inform decision makers, such as governments. It can explain current issues, such as the effect of COVID-19 on different social groups. I referred earlier to social differentiation. Sociology can provide solutions to those issues and problems relating to, for example, crime, poverty and racism. So how do we prevent crime? How do we eradicate poverty? Can we eradicate poverty? How do we prevent racism? And sociology analyses social concerns, such as why certain pupils in schools consistently do better or worse than others, or how we manage and organise and plan for an ageing population. So what else can you do or study alongside sociology? It combines well with any other A-level or applied subjects and is relevant to any careers relating to understanding people. So the topics that we study in A-level sociology include those that you can see on the screen now. And for more information, please refer to the prospectus. There you can find out what our entry requirements are, how the exam papers are organised and so on. And I always think that studying sociology is like peeling an onion. Yes, it might make you cry. It will certainly make you laugh, but it will also reveal a layer after layer after layer of understanding about society. So in year one, we look at education. We start with education actually. we start to peel away the layers of what actually goes on in schools. What does education hide? In research methods, we look at some really important studies that conducted by sociologists. And in families and households, we debate the extent to which childhood, for example, has improved or worsened. What do you think? In year 2, we continue that unlayering of society by starting with beliefs in society. How has our trust in science changed over time? Is religion still important to us? And what do we mean by ideology? What is an ideology? In theory and methodology, we look at some of the key thinkers in sociology, and we question whether or not sociology is a science. And finally, the last topic of the A-level is crime and deviance. Many students feel like we save the best till the last. We look at how definitions of crime and deviance or socially unacceptable behaviour has changed over time. But we also look at the role of the criminal justice system and how it treats people differently according to perhaps their class, age, gender and ethnicity. Okay, so that's it then, that's sociology. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. My name's Liz McLean and I'm head of subject for sociology. So I look forward to hearing from you or hopefully seeing you, meeting you in person in September. Thank you very much. Bye.